What could be a handshake have to do with the Spanish rule here in the Philippines?
Hep, hep, hep!
Lumipad ang aming team upang madiskubrihan ang
Ilocos Empanada! Ano? Tara! Hep, hep, hep!
Mali!
Sandugo sa Loay! Ano? Tara!
But before that, who is Miguel de Legazpi and si Katuna, by the way? So, muna sila guys, diba, handsome kayo si Legazpi guys. Spanish siya ha. And among pinakagwapo nga 16th century sila si Katuna. So kidding aside, who is Miguel Lopez de Legazpi? So he was a notable Spanish explorer and conquistador, best known for leading the successful expedition that established Spanish control over the Philippines in the 16th century. He was born into a noble Basque family. He pursued a career in law and public service in Mexico after moving from Spain. And who is that si Katuna? He was also known as the Katinao, was the 16th century's chieftain of Bohol, Philippines, renowned for forgiving the first treaty of friendship between Spain and the Philippines. The Blood Compact. About the middle of the March 1565, the fleet of Captain de Legazpi anchored along the shore. In the course of his visit, Legazpi entered into a blood compact with Datos Katuna for the purpose of ensuring friendly relationship between his people and the Filipinos. The compact has performed in the Filipino custom. Each of the two leaders made a small cut in their arms, drew a few drops of blood from the incision, mix it with the wine, and drink the goblets containing the blood of one another. This was the first blood of friendship between Spaniards and Filipinos. So what are the main reasons why did the Blood Compact happen? First, prevent hostilities, establish peace. The treaty was a direct attempt to prevent violent conflict between the Spaniards and the local villagers. Next, establish trust. Si Katuna was skeptical due to previous attacks by the Portuguese priests in 1563. The Sandugo, literally one blood, was a formal native ceremony that guaranteed a lasting, honorable peace, ensuring the Spaniards were not seen as hostile invaders. Next, need for supplies. Legazpi needed food and supplies from the locals and needed to secure the safety of his crew, making a peaceful relationship necessary. And lastly, colonization strategy. The Spaniards were specifically instructed to befriend the local population to begin Spanish colonial rule in the Philippines peacefully. Now we're gonna talk about the impact of Blood Compact on Filipino-Spanish settlements and local alliances. First, enabling Spanish settlements and survival. Legazpi's expedition was struggling after being met with hostility and facing shortages. The pact with Katuna provided food, supplies, and secure base for the Spaniards, who had previously failed to settle in Samar and Leyte. The Sandugo, a traditional Visayan ritual, transformed the local perspective of the Spaniard from predatory Portuguese raiders to allies. This eased tension and allowed the Spanish to negotiate rather than fight their way into the region. This alliance allowed Spanish missionaries and soldiers to operate in Bohol with relative security, laying the groundwork for religious conversation. Next, redefining local alliances. The Blood Compact formalized a bond of friendship rather than intimidate subjugation by force. Through it, quickly developed into colonial relationship. Bolaños support following the compact facilitated the Spanish move towards Cebu. It allowed the Spanish to gain cooperation from other local rulers and secure their position in the Visayas. While some areas allied, others like Lapu-Lapu and Sexer in Mindanao continued to resist, creating a pattern where Spanish forces, aided by the allied local groups, fought opposing native groups. Lastly is long-term political and economic impact. By securing a stable base in Visayas, Bohol, and Cebu, Legazpi was able to facilitate and address the Ordaneta's discovery of the turn of the edge or the return route across the Pacific, which officially launched the Manila-Acapulco galleon trade. From the Spanish perspective, the pact was formal recognition of the Spanish king's sovereignty by local readers, classifying them as a subject of Spain. While initially perceived as a partnership of equals with Katuna, the Spanish used the compact to eventually establish complete administrative and religious control over colonial administration.
In the late 50s, Spain initiated the permanent colonization of the Philippines beginning 1565 to gain a foothold in the Asian spice trade and spread Catholicism. Led by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, Spain aimed to secure the archipelago, overcoming in the resistance and intense rivalry from the established Portuguese presence in the region. Here are the three key late 50s situations. The first is Spanish goals, the God, gold, and glory, the three G's. Following Magellan's earlier fatal trip, King Philip II sought to turn the Philippines into a trading hub connecting Asia with the Americas via the Manila Galleon trade. The second one is Portuguese rivalry. Portugal considered the Spice Islands or Moluccas their territory and contested Spanish presence in Southeast Asia. And the last one, the third one, is the local politics and alliances. The archipelago was organized into independent barangays, rajanates, and sultanates. While some like Cebu Raha Tupas initially resisted, others were forced to enter into alliances and blood compacts with the Spanish.
Ug naat kita karon sa Loay, ug naata karon sa site kung asa gibuhat ang blood compact sa Bohol. Ug kini si Raha Sikatuna, usa ni siya kadato, leader sa usa ka puok dinhi sa Bohol. Ug siya ang nahimong representado sa maong Sandugo na hitabo. And karon naa sa ato ang tuo nga kamot kay si Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, usa ni siya ka Espanyol, and ang mga na dugang niya sa mga expedition nita kay ang pagtuklas sa New Spain or karon gitawag nato nga Mexico. And karon atong makita ang duha ka mga tao nga nakig Sandugo o kini mao ang nagpahibaw or nagpahamatuod nga nakig aliado ang mga dayuhan dinhi sa Pilipinas.
Have you ever wondered how the agreements were being sealed before written contracts and signatures existed? In early societies, one powerful way to form alliances was through a ritual called the blood compact, a ceremony where two parties mixed or drank each other's blood to symbolize trust, unity, and binding promise. This act was not just a symbolic. It was believed to create a lifelong bond that could not be broken forever. Did you know that the first recorded treaty of friendship between Filipinos and Spaniards was being sealed through a blood compact on 1565? In Philippine history, the most famous blood compact took place between Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, a Spanish explorer, and Dato Sikatuna, a local leader in Bohol. This event is known as the Sandugo, which means one blood. According to historical records, the meeting happened on March 16, 1565, when Legazpi arrived in Bohol during his expedition to establish Spanish presence in the Philippines. During the ceremony, Legazpi and Sikatuna each made a small cut on their arms. A few drops of their blood were collected and mixed with wine. They then drank the mixture, sealing their agreement. In their cultural context, this act meant they were now bound as allies, committed to helping and protecting each other. This blood compact was significant because it helped establish peaceful relations between the Spanish and the local people of Bohol. At a time when distrust between foreign explorers and indigenous groups was common, this ritual allowed both sides to build trust. It opened the door for communication, cooperation, and negotiation rather than immediate conflict. From a historical perspective, this event was more than just a cultural ritual. It was a strategic diplomatic move. For Legazpi, forming alliances with local leaders was essential for the success of Spain's mission in the Philippines. By gaining the trust of Dato Sikatuna, the Spanish were able to secure support and avoid hostility in the region. This approach eventually helped Spain begin its colonization with less resistance in certain areas. On the other hand, for Dato Sikatuna, the agreement may have been a way to protect his people and maintain peace with a powerful foreign group. It shows that early Filipino leaders were skilled in diplomacy and understood the importance of forming alliances for survival and stability. Historians emphasize that the Blood Compact should be understood as a formal agreement, not just a story of myth. The existence of written records from multiple Spanish sources provides clear evidence of the event. In fact, it is one of the earliest documented examples of diplomacy between Filipinos and Europeans. Today, the Blood Compact is remembered as a symbol of friendship and unity. A monument in Bohol commemorates the meeting between Legazpi and Sikatuna, reminding us of this important moment in history. It also reflects how Filipinos, even before colonization, already had established traditions of trust building and agreement making. In conclusion, the Blood Compact was a powerful ritual that symbolized trust, alliance, and commitment. The 1565 Sandugo between Miguel Lopez de Legazpi and Dato Sikatuna was not just a cultural act, but a real diplomatic agreement supported by historical evidence. It played a key role in shaping early relations between Filipinos and Spaniards and highlights the importance of diplomacy in history.
श्रीमेदं मुक्तिं भूमिमतरां पञ्चदर्या गुम्मिलां रिं स्वर्गा देवां रिक्सा सिनेम्बः संप्राजा जायानिं नेगरी सुमीरा धर्ममा मेरा पिगिरी pinakar sajaga ukir mungguing ring sipi.
The next day, the shores of Bohol grew tense as Dato Sikatuna arrived with armed warriors, though peace was possible, caution remained.
Miguel Lopez de Legazpi received Sikatuna's invitation to come ashore unguarded, but he could not leave his fleet.
To build trust, both sides agreed to exchange hostages, a careful balance between fear and peace.
With this, Sikatuna boarded the Spanish ship with a few men. There, the two leaders finally met.
A cup of wine was prepared. Each leader made a small cup, letting drops of blood mix into the drink.
The mixture was divided equally. Without words, they raised their cups.
And they drank.
And with that act, the Blood Compact was sealed, a bond of friendship and alliance.
Tensions faded, food was shared, and conversation became open.
Legazpi asked for supplies, and Sikatuna agreed, strengthening their cooperation.
Gifts were exchanged, symbolizing goodwill between their people.
What began in fear ended in trust, a historic moment that united two worlds. The Blood Compact, a symbol of unity sealed in trust.
In 1565, on the island of Bohol, a historic encounter took place between three different leaders, Miguel Lopez de Legazpi from Spain and Dato Sikatuna, a respected local leader. This meeting would later be remembered through the Blood Compact, a ritual that symbolized friendship, trust, and alliance. On March 14, 1565, the Spanish fleet led by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi was on its way to Butuan, but strong wind and current pushed their ship off course. By morning, they found themselves near the coast of Bohol. When the locals saw the Sandugo ships, they quickly fled. Past experiences with pirates and attackers had made them fearful and cautious. The Spanish then anchored at a small cove near a river now known as the Loay and the Lobok River. From there, they set up a temporary base and began exploring nearby areas. Their mission was clear: to establish peaceful relations, trade, and alliance with the local people. However, tensions already existed. A recent conflict with traders from Borneo revealed strong regional connection and added to the uncertainty. To communicate better, the Spanish relied on a Borneo pilot to explain why the locals were wary as attacks, especially by Portuguese slave traders, had caused fear and distrust. Legazpi assured that Spanish came in peace and were different from those who came before. With fear on one side and hope for peace on the other, both groups stood uncertain. This moment of tension would soon lead to a historic meeting with Dato Sikatuna.
After the meeting, the agreement between Legazpi and Sikatuna created trust and friendship between the Spaniards and the local leaders of Bohol. The Blood Compact helped reduce fear and conflict, allowing both sides to communicate peacefully and understand each other better. Because of this alliance, trade became easier, travel became safer, and future partnerships were made possible. It also gave the Spaniards a chance to continue their plans in the islands with local support and cooperation. Over time, the event became remembered in Philippine history as unity between two different cultures. It showed the respect and understanding can help build strong relationships between people.
The Sandugo or Blood Compact on March 16, 1565 between Spanish explorer Miguel Lopez de Legazpi and Dato Sikatuna of Bohol is considered the first formal treaty of friendship between Spain and a Philippine polity. It was not merely a symbolic gesture, but a crucial strategic action that shifted the outcome of the Spanish expedition from potential failure to permanent settlement. So the key importance first is diplomacy and legitimacy, gaining trusted alliance. Following Magellan's death in 1521, local leaders were hostile towards Spanish visitors. Sikatuna was initially suspicious, especially after Portuguese attacks in the area. The Sandugo broke this cycle of hostility by performing the Sandugo, or meaning one blood. Legazpi earned Sikatuna's trust. This allowed the Spanish to be treated as allies rather than invaders, securing essential provisions for the hungry expedition. The pact gave Legazpi representing King Philip II the local legitimacy needed to operate in the Visayas, allowing him to transition from mere exploration to establish authority. The second one is peaceful relations, facilitating Spanish movement. The pact transformed a potential military crisis into a diplomatic success. By using a local secret ceremony, Legazpi communicated respect for local culture, which reduced immediate resistance. With the Bohol alliance secured, Legazpi gained a safe base to explore other areas, eventually leading to the peaceful settlement of Cebu and the establishment of a foothold in Manila. The alliance allowed Spanish such as Andres de Ordaneta to learn about regional geography and trade, which was essential for the eventual success of the Manila-Acapulco Galleon trade.
When the Spanish expedition, led by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, arrived, their goal was not only to explore but also to establish permanent control. Strengthening their presence meant securing their position, building settlements, and establishing authority so they could rule effectively. As a result of this, it directly encouraged further contact and expansion efforts in the Visayas. Once they had established a strong foundation, particularly in Cebu, they were able to reach out to other islands like Bohol. The Visayas region became their center of operations. Because their position was secure, they had the means and confidence to explore new territories, interact with different communities, and expand their influence across the entire archipelago. Now, let's us focus on the event that happened here in Loay, Bohol. This is understood through the concept of mutual political strategy. It is very important to understand that this alliance was not one-sided. We must stress that Sikatuna's side also benefited by forming alliances. The Blood Compact or Sandugo between Dato Sikatuna and Miguel Lopez de Legazpi was a solemn agreement of friendship. Why did Dato Sikatuna agree to this? It was because the arrival of the Spanish created a changing power landscape. The political situation was shifting, new forces had entered the scene, and the balance of power was no longer the same. For Dato Sikatuna, entering into this alliance was a wise and strategic decision. It was an act of submission, but a way to secure advantages for his people. Through this alliance, Sikatuna gained protection from rival groups, opportunities for better trade, and was able to maintain his status and authority within his community. It was a practical move to ensure that safety and well-being of his people during a time of great change. To summarize, the Spanish aimed to strengthen their presence in the Visayas to expand their control. Meanwhile, the Blood Compact in Loay, Bohol was a mutual political strategy where both sides gained benefits. It shows that our ancestors were intelligent leaders who made decisions to protect their interests.
What can we learn from this book and how diplomacy works across cultures? The Blood Compact between Dato Sikatuna and Miguel Lopez de Legazpi show how democracy works across culture. It teaches us to respect, build trust, and communication clearly. Do you know how alliances form based on interest and survival, and how symbolism build trust when language, custom differ? The pact was formed because both sides needed each other. The Spaniards wanted a safe foothold in the Philippines, while the Bicolanos sought protection and trade opportunities. This reminds us that alliances often grow out of practical needs, survival, security, and mutual benefit rather than shared values alone. Since they not share the same language or customs, they relied on symbolism. Mixing blood with wine was the powerful act that said, "We are now united." This ritual bridged cultural gaps and created trust where words could not. Do you think the Blood Compact would work today? Not literally. Modern diplomacy relies on treaties, contracts, and international law. A blood ritual would be unsafe and impractical today.
The Sandugo is more than a historical footnote. It is a profound philosophical testament to the belief that peace is achieved when we recognize our shared humanity over our differences. By mingling their blood in a single cup, Sikatuna and Legazpi perform a ritual of becoming one, transforming strangers into kin and replacing the fear of the unknown with a sacred bond of brotherhood. This act teaches us that unity is a conscious choice, that to bleed for one another than against one another, establishing foundation of trust and transcends language and race. Today, this legacy is kept alive through the vibrant Sandugo Festival and enduring monuments in Bohol, serving as a perpetual reminders that even in a world of conflict, the spirit of pakikipagkapwa-tao, the heart of seeing oneself in the other remains the ultimate bridge to a harmonious society. The Sandugo serves as a living philosophy of shared identity, proving that our strength as a nation lies in the ability to turn the other into brother through mutual respect and honor. It anchors the Filipino value of pakikipagkapwa-tao, teaching us that true leadership and pride are found not in conquest, but in the humility to seek peace and the courage to open our doors to the world. In modern society, this unity of blood acts as a moral compass, reminding us that despite our many islands and different backgrounds, we are bound in an invisible thread of kinship that calls us to protect and support one another. Ultimately, the Sandugo defines our national pride as one rooted in diplomacy and heart, showing that the most lasting legacies are built on the sacred promise of being one people.
Why is Sandugo important and how does its history continue to influence people today?
Sandugo is important because it represents trust and alliance between Filipinos and Spaniards, particularly between Dato Sikatuna and Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. Historically, it is marked as the first formal agreement between natives and foreign colonizers. Today, its influence still continues as it represents unity, friendship, cultural influences, and commemorations like festival and history lessons.
Can the Sandugo be seen as the beginning of cooperations or the beginning of colonization? Then why?
Sandugo can be seen from two perspectives. It can be viewed as the beginning of cooperations because it demonstrates mutual respect and willingness to build alliances despite cultural differences. At the same time, it can be interpreted as the beginning of colonizations, since the act of respect eventually opened the way for Spanish control over the Philippines. At that sense, Sandugo reflects unity and consequences. It shows how an act of unity can also lead to a long-term changes.
Lumipad ang aming team.
Mayong unto ka natong tanan. Ako si Ninya Marite from Baiso, Tagbilaran. Kanang nami diri kay para ma-interview me about sa blood compact sa Loay. Chanel Maniwang. Diyan say na feel nimo nga kanang nay event sa Loay like blood compact nga na part siya sa tong history. Na feel proud ba ka or
Siyempre, proud me kay nasa lungsod. Doon ka sa buang barangay dyan na mo, nakabutang. Proud me ko.
daghang salamat ka sa imong response. Thank you, te.
छदर्या gumilang ring swarga Dewang reksa sinembah sang praja Jayaning negari sumirat dharmama Nerapi giri pinakar sajaga Ukir-ukir munggueng ring sipi Sagaramu uhlir kidung kamayang alantur Di pinggir meratan hani Komprang munikin hangge gana
Swararing pasabhanan
Palawira medal tan kawasana
Sinar suryang lantatawan
Daming pancana gomelaring surya
Tumbang mora obatan pasingsir
Satya jana niratan pagawaya
Ibig sa bumi anyaksir
Jaya Jaya Shri Vedang Mahottama Bhumi Mataram
ang pinakagwapo nga 16th century. That's the Blood Compact about in the middle of March 1656. Niña Lin.
So here are the three key lists 1996.
Compact sa luway. Pero magpapatuod nga kini. Balik be. Kani si Ja nakig-inom og nakig-blood compact ni Manuel Lopez D. Legazpi. Og karon naa sa ako ang tuo kay si Manuel. Balik be.
Published Spanish presence in the Philippines. Katra were skilled in diplomacy, survival, security, and mutual benefit rather than
Sayas, allowing him to transition from mere exploitation to establishment, such as Andres de Ordaneta, to learn about regional
Recycle me kung original cake.
Kaway pod mo. Lakaw dali anak ka. Lakaw. Oy. Dali anak ka. Stress na ko.
Death March, ano, Tara? Loay na pues. Welcome to Loay.
Okay guys, we are here. Welcome to Amazon Raid Paras.
Yay! Let's go! Ay! Let's go!
Mani ang hiking nga wala mina briefing.
Luway trail run na tayo.
Ako dahil na ko ilakaw dahil murag ikot ako ning labay. Oh my god.
Ha?
May musmail kay para ni si W. Para ni si W. Ah, may zombie. May zombie. Ay, sa mga video sa mga adventure ta.
Tabi.
Paunasan. Luway, paunasan eh. Sir, mag-video na sila.
Dala!
Gaya.
Uy, bala! Asa na yung part na na? Bili ka part na na bili. Ano yung part?
Baka malaya ka.
Ari, ito na yung motor.
Anha?
na dapat nating gunitain. Mga kababayan, palakpakan po natin sila. Sandugo, ito na kami. Ay, dalawang totoo. Ang kalibay ng totoo.
kaugtangan ay tunay na nalalaman dahil kumulalisay ang dugo ng ating bayan.
Ipahilog natin sa kanila! Tapat pa kayo! Hindi magkapatid sa akin!
Tapat kami!
Tunay ko na ay kagabi sa lalong kagalingan, lalong imulat ang aming kaisipan.
Tunay!
Hindi kayo ibalik ang kaligaan ng aming mga anak.
Hindi!
Bayan na Tagalugan, narinig niyo ba lahat? Ang magtapat ay mabuhay at ang magtaksil ay mamatay. Ang magtapat ay mabuhay, ang magtaksil ay mamatay. Unya ka! Asay si RPH sa pagpapabya mo yung kasyo. Aris mo yun sila!
Sandugo is also known as the Blood Compact. It's an ancient Filipino ritual that symbolizes friendship, peace, and trust. It involves two people mixing a drop of their blood with wine or another drink and then drinking it as a sign of agreement or alliance. The most famous Sandugo happened in 1565 between Dato si Catuna, a chieftain from Bohol, and a Spanish explorer Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. This historical event became a symbol of unity and friendship between Filipinos and Spaniards, and is still remembered today through the annual Sandugo Festival celebrated in Bohol. The Loay Blood Compact shows that trust and unity were important values among Filipinos even before colonization. It reminds us that agreements were once built on respect and honor, not just written rules. This historical event helped us realize the importance of preserving our history because it teaches us lessons about friendship, peace, and the identity of the people of Bohol.